Okay, we were working on editing a news segment. I have showed you how to adjust the audio, key the green screen, but not in depth. You would need to see the green screen keying in Google Class. For more depth, key the green screen instructions. These videos give you more depth on how to do it well. You want to make sure if you're actually using the green screen that you do it well before you start all your editing, because if you change your green screen here, it's not going to apply to here and here and here after you've made the cuts. So you want to make sure before you make all these cuts that you key the green screen. You put in a new background. You have trimmed A-roll in spots where there are stutters. So you did it in that order. And then I've shown you all this. So titles is where I left off on that last video. One thing I want to point out about titles, always make sure that they are in the safety margins. If you do not see those, right click, choose safe margins, and get those on so that you can make sure they're in the safe margins. And I did that on the Jeans Day too. You can see it falls right in the safe margins. Mosquito Bite News intro, I had zoomed it to make sure that it falls at least in the outer state margin. It should have probably fallen a little bit more, but to get that, you just click on whatever you want to change. Effects, controls, position. We'll scale it and then just adjust the position to where it falls in those safe margins. So anyway, what we're left with now is, what if we want to zoom in on just one newscaster? So I'd like to demonstrate that for you.
The Mighty Moo Band participated in the 2019 Marching Festival. After a great performance, the placements were revealed, and Mesquite High received the first division and placed 8th out of 30 bands.
Oh, Damien wrote that so well. I wish we had some B-roll for that. One student told me that she recorded B-roll, but I couldn't find it, so we couldn't use it. So that's very sad. So we'll just take this spot and zoom in. You can see I'm cutting the video here because I don't want it to zoom all along this track, just on this part where he's talking.
The Mighty Moo Band.
So right here is where it's going to zoom on him. So I've got that area segmented, and now I'm going to scale him up, and I'm going to position him over. And this is good enough that I can have him centered and you don't even notice Lainey over here. But let's just say, what if I want him right here? And now we don't want her half on the screen. So what we need to do is take this opacity right here and click this to create an opacity mask. And here he is. We're just putting it on him. And we are going to position it around him. You could also do this if your green screen didn't work out well and there's a spot right here that keeps showing up. You can just mask that out. You can use the pen tool. That's another way to do it, but usually the 4 polygon works just fine. Okay, so now it looks like this.
They also raised money for a scholarship, which will be rewarded to a graduating senior this year.
The Mighty Moo Band participated.
Okay, so it's kind of weird to cut from that to this. So it might be good to cover this with something first, but it's pretty cool because now it looks like we zoomed in on him in a 2-shot. Okay, so that's the only other thing I wanted to show you. Now, just in case you need to know, you're always going to save, and then I don't want to save. I might as well save. That's fine. And then I'll go to Export Media. It's complaining that I have some offline files. That's because I've moved them to the trash after I edited this. So that's fine. They were screenshots. Just for temporary use. I promise I will use better. We'll get better camera in the future. You can see my green screening was not very good because we can see an outline around him. I was being lazy. You want the format to change to H.264. You want the match source to go all the way down to YouTube 1080. And then you want to change the output name. Those are the only things you're changing. Your output name, I tell you exactly what to name it. Last name _ first initial _ I would just Command C that, Command V it, and then plug in your last name. Mine would be Turner. And my first initial is C. And there I go. And where do I say to save it? Okay. You're going to put it on the network drive. Might be safe to go ahead and export to the desktop, then move it to the network drive. So I'm going to say export. The part that's exporting, down here it says sequence in and out. You can change that. My sequence in and out shows the whole area that has the edits. If there was a specific part that I just wanted to export, like the intro, then I could set in and out points, and sequence in and out would only export those points. Okay, so it's exported. Let me go back. Okay, so let's say I wanted to export just this part. I'm going to mark I for the end point, O for the out point, and you can change that up here to get more specific if you wanted to export that part and that part. And go File, Export, Media. That's fine. Okay, it wouldn't be fine for you, by the way. Entire sequence would export the whole thing, even though I have in and out points marked. Sequence in and out only exports that section that I had marked. And then work area covers the whole thing. Custom, I've never used custom. I would just set custom with sequence in and out, so I don't even know what that does. So that's just for your information for future reference. Once you have that, it's easiest for me to check stuff on the network drive. It's safest for you to turn it into Google Classroom and put it on the network drive just in case it gets lost. So it's in 2 spots. So go ahead and drag that to your network folder. You can get it through Go on your computer. And then also go to the Google Classroom assignment, this one, and add it and turn it in. And you'll get credit. I just want to see what you can do. We can do this. The more we do it, the better we can get. We don't have, we don't have any titles under their lower thirds for their names. But that's something, once we can get the basics down, we can start adding those fine details. And if you want to add those fine details into your edits, I'd love to see that. I want to see what your editing skill is. And if you enjoy editing, I want to give you more opportunities to do so. So let's figure out how to make this work well.